So, welcome to the Magdalene Global Collective. So, I am joined by a beautiful guest here today. Her name is Magdalene Eames, and she has been working in the field of mental health for over 3 decades. She ran a busy practice as a psychotherapist specializing in healing trauma and chronic pain, and created one of the largest online pain education programs in Canada during COVID. The approaches she used were varied as a yoga teacher, breathwork facilitator, and mindfulness guide. But it wasn't until her own burnout in 2020 that she met Mary Magdalene and started to unearth the myths and stories of the architecture that drove her underlying condition. And that was the turning point that turned into a course called Breaking the Feminine Codes and a book that is being released this summer, which is called The Resurrect, the Magdalene Tower. So I'm so happy to be joined with you today, and I just can't wait to hear your story. So,
Thank
would
you.
you like to share, Magdalene?
Sure. Thank you so much, Lisa Marie, for having me on and allowing me just to talk about what the journey has been for me. Because I know for all of your listeners and all the women, it's so unique. And so just as you said in that amazing introduction, I was a psychotherapist. I still am to some degree for over 30 years. And I was running a private practice in the end. And it was a busy, busy trauma practice. I've got two boys who were, growing teenagers by then. And I, it was in 2019. We moved cities. I didn't know too many people. COVID hit. My work went online overnight. And my world became, like everybody, quiet, probably for the first time in I don't know how long. And and I found during that period of time that I discovered I was really tired. And I wasn't just tired, I was exhausted. And to be honest, I don't know if I would have stopped if all of those things didn't happen. I don't know if I would have slowed down, but I eventually would have hit the wall, which is exactly what happened. And so it really, one day I woke up and I thought, "Oh, something's not right." Like I'm taking these long naps, I'm not feeling rested. And I realized what I had heard women say in my therapy office for years was happening to me, that it hit me unexpectedly. And I kind of put quotations around unexpectedly because it was unexpected. But I had a chance because I was at home, I had more quiet, I had a chance to really look at the ingredients that had gone into my life up until that point. And it was far more than rest that I needed. So that was a real turning point. And what I realized, I think, at a deeper level, I'd been thinking about this for a little while, but at a deeper level, I was running on a wheel in this machine that I didn't create. And frankly, it it doesn't fit for my nervous system, as you know, or other women's nervous systems. And so I started to look at the patterns, the behaviors in myself and the beliefs, and in all the women that I had treated for so long who were recovering from trauma, chronic pain, other illness, chronic fatigue. And I realized there was this archetype of the good girl running the show, trying to meet everybody's needs, over giving to the outside world, not taking enough time to rest, people pleasing, worried about disappointing people, all of these characteristics that something inside of me said, this whole thing needs to shift. So
Feels
I'll
like it
pause
just
there for a
broke for
moment.
you. Mm, yeah, it
It
feels
did.
like it just broke. But what you're describing as well is a little bit of soul loss as well, because your soul was tired because you weren't doing what your soul wanted to do or what your soul really needed to do. So we all have to meet that point as well. But like Mary Magdalene really comes no more than yourself, you were saying, but she comes when you're actually on the floor, when you're on your knees. And then the divine
Yes,
feminine comes in, you know? So, but
that's
I
it.
just, it's so amazing. And I'm so grateful that you got to have that experience.
Yes. Yes, and I think you brought up a really important thing. It is a soul loss because it wasn't just that I needed to slow down and rest. It wasn't just that. It was that I was doing too much of what was not aligned to my soul. And it was draining my energy. What I needed to do was more of what fulfilled me, what made me feel alive, what lit me up, like coming on here and talking to you. This feels alive to me. This gives me energy. And I saw this energy drain from women that was and at the same time, at the research was starting to show more and more and more what we all know, that this contributes to anxiety and depression and physical illness because it can't not. Like you say, you break when your body says, no, no more. We're done now. You're going to do
And
something different.
they're disconnected from their source as well, you see. Where are they feeding from? Like they're not getting fed. All they're doing is all these drains and pipes out to other people. So that the
Exactly.
soul is just, it's not getting the energy from the life source. So
Yes, it's being drained. Yeah, if feeding not from the soul, but feeding from other people, from demands, from expectations, trying to be perfect. All these threads that really had run through my whole life. It wasn't just, in the previous 5 years. And so I can talk a little bit now about during that time how Mary Magdalene came to me. Like you say, it's when you're on your knees.
yeah, I'd love to hear the story. How did she make her presence known to you?
Mhm. Well, it took a couple. I wanted it was a few years, and so during that time, I continued to show up online and teach and really exploring with other women what was contributing to their anxiety, their depression, and just the suppression of the divine feminine was so apparent in this, as you called it, it's soul loss.
Mm.
And somewhere along the line there, I became aware, and I can't remember exactly when, that there was a gospel, the Gospel of Mary, that had been omitted from the Bible, and that women were starting to take an interest in this. Now, I do not have a religious background, so it was kind of interesting that this intrigued me. I became obsessed with it. I didn't, wasn't brought up going to church, and so it was really interesting. I started to read more. I started to research, but I knew that there was something in there. There was something that had been left out, something missing for all women, not just those who I had seen that I help them with religious trauma. This was for all women who felt that they were not good enough, that they weren't
Yes, it's the
worthy
big
enough.
suppression, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that they they weren't reflected in the outside world, their magnificence that I would see in the therapy room. These amazing women with big dreams, big desires would come in and just tell me that they just didn't feel like they were good enough. It broke my heart. And I knew there was something in this Gospel of Mary, Mary Magdalene's story that was going to answer questions for us. So I became like just like a dog with a bone. I was going to like get to the roots
Yeah,
of this.
yeah, yeah.
It's going to dig it up. And of course that led me to her gospel. which when I read it, when I actually got around to reading it, I I wanted to shout it from the rooftops. Like, does any
Yeah.
why are
Yeah.
we not talking about this? And we are. People like you are, but I didn't know anyone else that was interested. I really didn't know that there was a whole movement out there. And so to me it looked like everything that I had been trying to articulate to women throughout the years. It was like a roadmap for self-liberation, not from somebody else, not from your husband, not by raising great kids, not by your job, but an identity that we could find inside of ourselves and to let go of this good girl archetype, all the good girl rules that were in fact making us sick. That wasn't an exaggeration. They were making us sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's like she
yeah,
really just hands you the key, doesn't she? She's like, "There's the key now, just unlock it, and then you're
exactly.
free." Once you get
Yes.
this knowledge, like, you're free then. And it's just
Yes.
it just dissolves the matrix, that's the thing. It
That's
helps
the
you
thing.
just to step outside of it. Did you find that yourself? You were like, "Yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
not there anymore."
And you can see it. You can look back and you can see the matrix and go, "Whoa, that was
Yeah.
crazy."
Where was I living, you know? Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's amazing because I was tuning into your energy, I could feel your energy coming in before we logged in, for the interview this evening, and I could see all the fields of lavender as well around you. Have you been to the south of France?
Yes,
Yeah.
and lavender and rose has always
Yeah.
been yeah, of course, you're an intuitive. Yeah, those are my favorite scents, and, as I started to explore more, I realized, like so many women, that she'd been with me my whole life, that she'd been guiding me, she'd been showing me, but I had to get to that point where what I call a tower collapse, like my tower, the Magdalene Tower collapsed in order to build a new one. And that was where I saw so many women in what they felt they were trying to keep it together. They felt like everything was going to fall apart, but that was exactly what needed to fall apart. That is the old tower so that we can rebuild. Of course, halfway through I'm like, "Oh, that's even my name. Madeline, Magdalene."
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like, "Oh, okay." So it was really a strange thing for me. I went to the south of France on a solo pilgrimage for a month, and during that time, I had an encounter. I had a spiritual encounter with Mary Magdalene. I was on the shore of Sainte Marie de la Mer in the south of France, where Mary Magdalene was said to have arrived after the crucifixion with other members of her family in a boat with no oars, just set across the Mediterranean Sea. And it was a very, very rainy day, and the winds were blustery, and I was just packing up to leave because I was on a schedule, I had to go. And and so I went back down to the sea and I thought, I'll just say goodbye to this place one more time, say goodbye to the sea. And I was walking back to my car and my foot slipped because it was slippery and it slipped down between two rocks and I couldn't get my leg out. And I'm here by myself. It's off season. There's nobody around. And I have to drive. I need my legs. And so it was in that moment that I heard these words in the wind, what you hide has been hidden from you. And it just stopped me in my tracks because I knew I had that feeling of there was a presence that I had felt before in my life. It was familiar. She was familiar to me. And I did manage to untrap my leg and I pulled out my journal and I started writing and I basically downloaded what became the framework for a book about what we hide, which really is what her gospel talks about, what has been hidden from us. So yeah, that was a profound moment in my journey,
And
when
if
you're
it wasn't for
collapsed.
getting stuck in the rock, you would have already have left,
Oh
so
yeah.
yeah, divine intervention. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I continued on, and then I realized that, okay, this is for real. This is happening. And what you hide has been hidden from you. What came through for me really was the seven deadly sins, because I didn't know this piece, and how they had how her seven powers in her gospel had been replaced by the seven deadly sins. So greed, pride, sloth, all of these qualities. And
Yeah.
this was the real kicker for me as a psychotherapist, that those were the exact things that women were afraid of when they came into my office, of being too much, asking for too much, afraid to even rest. That was me, afraid to rest, afraid to slow down because it's sloth, it's lazy, afraid of lust, of pleasure, of our own pleasure, and certainly afraid of being angry. So it was like all the seven deadly sins. This is kind of the fun part, Lisa Marie, because I started to teach courses, as you mentioned, breaking the feminine codes. I started to teach women how to embrace what's been hidden, that your anger is important, pleasure, top of the list, rest, top of the list. I was teaching them the seven deadly sins of how to live a life that feels fully alive, fully whole, and free.
Mm.
And Mary Magdalene has supported me with this. I really my whole practice has changed. I just teach courses now. I feel like these are the building blocks that we are reclaiming to rebuild the tower and to reclaim the lineage of the tower priestesses that we see in fairy tales, where the damsel in distress who's trapped in the tower waiting to be saved by the knight in shining armor. And hidden in those tales are the fact that there were tower priestesses who were very powerful, who held the wealth and governed communities, and were the wise advisors, really, to the land. And of course they were toppled. And part of that came to me when I was at Rennes-le-Château in the Magdalene Tower. And the tower is very symbolic for me now. Not only is it my name, but I realized I had been traveling the world, for many years, but it was the towers that I went looking for. I loved being in towers. So
Wow.
that archetype of the tower archetype just came right to me, and that's, basically what my book is about. So
Yeah, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. What a journey. It's an amazing journey, isn't it? Yeah.
it really is. It really is.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
incredible. And do you find that since the release of your book, are you reaching people all over the world now?
Mm.
Is it available all over the world?
It's not released yet. It'll be out August 4th.
Yeah.
So I have opened a tower sanctuary. It's a private offline group for
Fantastic.
women that are, yeah, for women that are interested in exploring, this archetype and letting go of the good girl codes that we're pretty much all born into. And so that is open. That's open now. We're going to have a celebration on the 22nd on the Magdalene feast day,
Yeah, on her
where I'm
anniversary.
going to,
Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, where I'll be teaching what I call the art of alchemy. So, the alchemy that I feel that she taught that gave her strength and perseverance and presence. And then we'll be celebrating the book release, which is, as I said, August 4th. And
Oh,
my vision
fantastic.
really, yeah, is to reach as many women as possible to highlight the matrix, the goldfish bowl that we live in, why we're getting sick, why we're burning out, why so many of us struggle financially. I mean, if women had more money, the world would be a different place. So that also came into this whole tower archetype
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I
that's
also
true.
saw, yeah, like I
Mhm.
saw women doing amazing things. They were healers, they are healers. But they struggle, to really build to a structure that they can rest easy in. So I'm all for the spiritual path. It's what I'm on, but I'm also for women really being able to, how should we say, like move the dial in their own life and in the world.
Yeah, yeah. It's like really, they have to give permission to themselves to do so as well, because like
Exactly.
it's the old archetype of, well, you need to be at home or you need to, you need to be perfect in every
Mm,
area and just ticking off all the boxes. And like you can't be
yeah.
superwoman all the time. That's the thing, as
No.
much as you'd love to be. Mm.
Exactly. I mean, you have young children. You know what those stages are
Yeah,
are like, and
yeah,
to try to
yeah,
juggle
yeah,
all the balls and keep them
yeah.
all in the air is
But like
is
definitely the healing energy and the energy that the divine feminine and the angels give you is like a key. It definitely keeps you going, like it really does. And it'll
mhm,
keep us younger as well. But I just wanted to ask as well, have you found a difference between definitely we're having more breakthroughs coming from the psychotherapy background, like and actually being in sessions with women compared
mm,
to, let's say now you're doing the courses with women. Do you find they're getting the breakthroughs faster and are they pain free faster once they break the patterns?
mm.
Was
That's
this the
such a great
missing piece you
question.
were looking for?
It was absolutely the missing piece. Absolutely, without question. Not only the information, but just the energy of it.
Yeah, yeah,
That like the energetics of this is possible to break free. And it was really hard for me, and I haven't. I'm now kind of out of the mainstream world and the clinics that I was working in because I just felt like I didn't resonate with the systems anymore,
yeah,
and the systems are crumbling. But the breakthroughs that women were getting when they realized that all the ways that they had been spending their energy were not always the ways that really felt right for them. They were spending their energy there because they were looking for approval or validation, or they didn't want to disappoint people, or they were trying to keep a marriage going that wasn't working. That creates tension, that creates pain, it's stress. And it's not their role to do that. So that I think was one of the freedom for a lot of women to realize, oh, I've been doing this for so long, it's not working for me.
yeah,
And there
yeah.
is another world outside of that. There is another world that
So
doesn't
it's
demand
really
that.
letting go of the fear really as well. Like that was probably the biggest thing for you too, was letting go of the fear to let go of the steady wage as well, the steady income to really move onto the path as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
trust,
That's it.
isn't it? That really comes true. Yeah, as well. But
Absolutely.
did you find a difference as well in relationships in your life? Did you feel the energy
Mm,
really, it changes and shifts relationships a lot too, doesn't it? With you stepping
yeah,
into your divine feminine.
absolutely. And I think for
Mhm.
women, this is always kind of the tricky part because
Yeah.
we are so wired for bonding. We love to be in relationship with our kids, with our
Yeah.
partners, with our friends. It's a very natural, usually, way for women to be and to start rocking the boat, to start shifting your patterns that say, to that friend who's very draining to say, no, you know what? I'm not available to go for coffee today. And, maybe I'm not available ever again because it's too draining. You don't say it like that, but
I know.
setting
Yeah.
boundaries, being clear, having more say and power in your
Mhm.
own relationship, it shifts a dynamic. Some of them last, some of them won't last through the transition.
Because especially like I learned myself like and I experienced it myself and so many other women as well. Like when you work with the roles and the divine feminine, it clears out what isn't working for you, what isn't serving you anymore. So like if a relationship, even communication, if that's not flowing for you anymore, it's yeah, it's taken
Hmm.
away from you. So sometimes it could be like walking away from and leaving a burning house behind you or leaving a burning bridge behind you. And that's where it's empowerment, but it can be difficult as well in that transition too. Like there definitely needs to be more support or support groups or more community around
Yeah.
the spiritual. Because the only thing, I don't know if you found this yourself, would like sometimes in this work, when you really enter that space and now you're with the higher consciousness and you see the way things could be, you can
Hmm.
kind of want more time alone as well. Did you find
Hmm.
that like that integration time and
Oh,
process time, it kind of
yeah.
pulls you away, and it's just
Yeah.
keeping the feet on the ground as well.
You nailed it there. I luckily for me, I'd say luckily, it was during COVID, so I had less social demands on me and expectations. But even after that, at heart, I am a hermit. Like I have a lot of alone time in nature by myself,
Mm.
with
Yeah.
the trees and the water. That's so important to me. And, the relationships that do stay are the ones that are meant to stay. The ones that don't, it's good information for the woman, for your listeners. The ones that don't, it shows you how much energy you have been putting into maintaining something
Mhm.
to keep it. And I see it as part of the good girl rule book. It's my job to make things work. It's my job to
Yeah.
make sure everybody's happy. And it's not your job, it's their job. That's a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. So, what's your plans for the future? Do you see
Mhm.
yourself writing more books, or do you know
Hmm.
what way the path is going to take you?
Well, I could see building out more of my Magdalene Tower community. And really my mission is to, if this resonates with women, to help as many women as possible to start creating the building blocks, of this internal journey that we go on to reclaim our wholeness, to reclaim who we truly are, because there's a reason the divine feminine was suppressed. It's because it was
Yeah.
threatening,
Yeah.
because it is so powerful. So that's kind of my focus now. Of course, giving birth to the book and talking about it, and coming on and having conversations like this is that'll be for the near future anyway.
Yeah, it's amazing, and congratulations again. Like it's beautiful, that you've been on now, and you're there. Like you feel like you've accomplished it now, and it's going to be out in the world. And
Yeah.
it's really honor you a lot as well because you've done the work, like you've done the hard work as well to get to where you are today, even with the
Mm.
writing. and the 30 years of psychotherapy as well, you know? So it's like it's
I've
time
put in
to
time,
embrace
that's for
your
sure.
freedom. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
time for freedom now as well, and like that to travel as well for yourself. Yeah, be
Yeah,
beautiful.
that's definitely, yeah, on the agenda. Yeah, absolutely. And I also want to acknowledge you in the same journey of writing and releasing a book, because I have a new admiration for
Yeah,
for
yeah,
authors, especially women
yeah,
who also have families, you know.
yeah, absolutely. And especially when, you know, I'm sure a lot of authors talk about this too, and healers, but like it's usually not in the daytime hours that the messages come through either, like, or the writing comes through or the downloads comes through. It could be at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and you're there
That's
like, I
right.
have
That's
to
right.
write this down or I won't remember, you know.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's incredible. But yeah, Mary Magdalene is, she really is very strong with you, and really Saint Cally really is as well. Sarah Cally is really connected with you as well. But I can actually see you, Magdalene,
Mhm.
as a young girl in France in another life, like in a past life, it's coming up for you as well. And like that, you have the darker skin, and you're just playing out with the flowers in the field. Like you're just
That
loving it. Like you're just out in nature, but the tower is behind you. You know, so like it's definitely your
yeah,
place, and the feeling is like, and the message is that you'll definitely frequent a lot in your life, that you'll go back there, and it really resets your energy as well, you know? So when you
that's
feel like you're
very
missing
true.
something, that's, you need to go again, like you need to experience it, or experience more of the sights
Yeah.
as well, you know? But definitely it's only
I
the
did
beginning of your journey too, like it's only getting
it
going.
is. It's
Yeah,
only getting
yeah,
going, and it's interesting, that you say that, because it really was on the shores of Sainte Marie de la Mer, and the
yeah.
church with the Black Madonna, and Sarah Cali is probably comes through even stronger,
Yeah, I
mm,
can see her
for me.
hands on your shoulder. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
There's
beautiful.
definitely some chords there for sure,
Yeah.
and I can
What
I
she's
can
saying is
feel
like
that in
that you need to
France.
lean in more.
Okay. I'm holding myself probably back a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. She
I
says
have been my whole
lean
life.
in more and trust, you know, because she says to you that you're not here to do this alone, that they are doing this with you as well, you know. So it's a little bit of that letting go as well, isn't it? Yeah.
It truly, truly is. Yes. Yes. And I have been directed to read Sarah's story. There are some accounts of her story to become more
Yeah.
familiar with her.
Yeah. It feels like to me the message she's saying is like there's more to um it's to lean into her. There's more for you to discover there. And it looks like you're on your path, like you've got up to the mountain, like you've got up to the mountaintop, but it's like they're just bringing you now in another little direction as well, for your self-discovery as well, for you, you know? And,
Mhm.
but it's gonna be a big success. I know it will, and I hope that
Mm.
all of the listeners today, when it is available, that they pick up your book as well. You know, it's
Thank
beautiful.
you.
So I'm absolutely delighted to have connected with you
Thank you.
today. And,
I really
thank you so
appreciate it.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and if people want to, I'm sure you'll pop the links in, but,
yeah,
probably the best thing to do is to connect with me on Instagram or Facebook through my website, Mindful Living Now, and then I can, if they're curious and interested in the tower, mm, then I can send them an invitation to join our secret offline
yeah.
society.
It's so exciting, isn't it? So exciting. Yeah, all the sisters of the rose, you know, that's what we are. And it's just gathering us all together to share the light together. And that's what it's
Yeah.
all about. Yeah. So
Thank you
thank
for
you
being
so
part of this.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll talk
It's
to you
been a joy.
soon. Thank you, Madeline.
Yeah, thanks.